Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rudi and I am so happy to have you here with me. If you are like, what's going on? Where have you been? What the hell happened? That's what I'm here to talk about. I am in my backyard in my zero gravity chair. I have been basically in this for the past month, and this was the most appropriate venue for me to use this microphone that I bought that I really wanted to use, that made me feel like a podcaster. I really wanted to have an in-depth conversation with you guys, and I didn't know the best way to go about it. And so in my brain, I was like, buy a microphone that looks like the kind that the newscasters use. Yeah, it was not the smartest purchase, but it's okay because it's really just my mic attached with this thing over it. So anyways, that's not what this is about. I apologize in advance for noise out here. It's a nice day, so everyone's outside. People are doing things. I was going to post a video that was a vlog of my upcoming lip liner stain, the campaign shoot that I had in Palm Springs. And I decided that it wouldn't make sense for me to post that out of nowhere after not posting for the past couple months, and to not give you guys like sort of a full update on where I've been, what's been going on. You probably already know. I'm pregnant. Yeah, it's crazy to say, but it's true. I am currently 16 and a half weeks pregnant, which is totally nuts. And it has been beautiful and it has been horrible. And I just kind of wanted to talk about that with you guys, because from sharing what I have on my other social media platforms, I've seen how many other women who have felt the same way and had only seen positive things about pregnancy, or maybe felt alone during their pregnancy, and I wanted to help people feel less alone. So that's kind of what I'm gonna do today, is just explain how it's been and how I'm feeling now and how much this changes everything for me. So if you are new here for some reason, I don't know how you stumbled upon this video. Thank you for being here. We usually talk about makeup and skincare, but this is a part of my life and it's affecting my skin like crazy, which we'll talk about. If you've been here for a while and you've been wondering where I am, let's chat. So before the pregnancy, I was also sort of missing from YouTube for a little while, and it was because of my health. So if you watch my last video that's called Where I've Been, which, like, embarrassing, how many times am I gonna make a video that's called Where I've Been? I better come up with something way more interesting for this video title. I was basically sick for half a year. I have IBS-D, the diarrhea one, and I basically had something called a microscopic colitis, which is like a small, very small version of ulcerative colitis, and it's treatable, unlike ulcerative colitis, and they just couldn't figure it out. They couldn't figure out what was wrong with me for half a year until I got a colonoscopy and got a biopsy. And because of that, I was really MIA for a while on my YouTube channel and honestly on socials, because if you are chronically ill, you understand completely what I'm saying. It is so hard to show up as your authentic self when you feel like shit. It's so hard to put on a happy face and review things when you feel like shit, which also leads into sort of talking about my first trimester. But when I posted that video, you guys were so completely understanding, and it was really beautiful. And I don't take my YouTube community lightly, because it was the first platform that I ever posted on, and it is what got me off the ground into doing this as a career, into creating makeup products with a brand, into all of it. And I have, almost 70,000 subscribers, which is really fucking hard to do. It's really hard. I see some of my friends who have like millions of followers on TikTok or Instagram, and they can't, get 5,000 followers on YouTube. So I really appreciate you guys so much. And so being away has really sucked. So backtrack. I was sick. I got my colonoscopy. I was on steroids for about a month, and I knew that I wanted to try and have a kid, and I didn't know how quickly it would happen, but I knew that I had to wait, which truthfully Rita and I wanted to try before, but my dietitian was like, wait until your colonoscopy and see if you have to take meds that are not pregnancy safe. That's exactly what happened. Basically, when I was done taking those, we started trying, and I got pregnant pretty quickly, and I'm so grateful for that. So grateful for that. I have so many friends and family and people that I just know have had such a struggle with fertility, and I do not take that for granted whatsoever. And I want you to keep that in mind as I talk through this story. And I was shocked. Reed was shocked. We were like, it wasn't even like not that it wasn't exciting, but you know, I was like, oh, maybe I'll film it so I can have this memory forever. And basically what happened was, because I knew we were trying, I went and got like the early testing strips, and it came up as positive, but it was like really faint. And I was like, having never done this before, I was like, I don't be knowing if that's real. I showed it to Reed and he was like, I don't know, I thought it was supposed to be a dark line. And I was like, I did too. Maybe I'm not pregnant. Looking back, that makes no sense. You're either pregnant or you're not, babe. So I went and got a different test and I took it and I texted it to my best friend and she was like, yeah, bitch, you're pregnant. Like, that's a line. So it was really anticlimactic in terms of like Reed and I finding out, because we were both like, is this what it is? I don't know. Which is totally fine. Like, I don't need a perfect movie moment in every aspect of my life. And honestly, I wanted him to be there because I didn't do this alone. You know what I mean? Like, he was in the house and it just felt like, oh my gosh, as soon as I saw it, I needed to talk to him about it. So that was in late February. And for the first couple weeks of knowing that I was pregnant, so like weeks 4 and 5, I felt fine. I was like, this is great. I'm gonna be one of those girls who just lives life and looks so cute and I can just do whatever I want and I'm gonna have a perfect pregnancy. And that was like a hope, like a deep-seated hope that I had, because I have so many health issues, specifically with my stomach, that I was like, maybe someone somewhere out there, whoever is out there, will give me an easy pregnancy because of all the other stuff I've had to go through with my health. That didn't happen. So week 6 hits me, and sorry, my air conditioning's turning on. And I remember the moment I was laying on my couch and I was like, ooh, I feel kind of tired and like kind of bad. I am not a napper. Let me put that out there before we even continue this. I don't nap. I've never napped. I've never liked napping. In fact, I've despised naps most of my life. And that day I was like, I think I'm going to take a nap. And this was the beginning of March. And I woke up from the nap and I didn't feel good again for 6 weeks. God, the day is so vivid. I know it was a Monday because I had an improv show that evening and I was like just dreading it. And yeah, so basically that was the beginning of the worst 6 weeks of my life. I was the first week, so like during week 6 and 7, I was throwing up. You guys, I'm gonna give you some TMI. Okay, so if you've made it this far, you don't care. The first time that I threw up so hard that I peed all over the floor. Editors, zoom in on that. Yeah. It was also at night. Everyone says that morning sickness is called morning sickness. Nope. It's all day sickness. It's all night sickness. It's whenever it wants to happen sickness. So the first time I threw up was actually at night. And Reed was asleep. And I was throwing up and pissing on the floor like a dog. And I remember looking in the bedroom and seeing him asleep, not having any idea of what's going on. And the first feeling of knowing that being a parent and being a mother is not balanced between the parents. And that's not to say that Reed is an incredible husband and will be an incredible father, but physically the mother has so much more that they have to do. That's just a fact. And it was the first time I felt alone in this marriage and anything, that I was like, oh, I'm doing this solo dolo. Like, Reed is as fast asleep, has no idea, and I'm out here pissing and shitting and barfing. And I went to bed, and literally for the next 6 weeks, I just sort of spiraled into a really real depression, a situational depression. Weeks 6 through 8 were by far the worst. I think I left my house maybe once. And after week 6 or 7, I stopped throwing up, but I was nauseous 24 hours a day. And that almost is worse because there was no relief. Yeah, it was horrible. And Reed was as there for me as he could be. My friends were as there for me as they could be, my mom. But I felt so incredibly alone. One of my best friends is pregnant as well, so it's great to have someone who understands what you're going through. But with me working for myself and working at home, I was just alone all day, feeling so sick and misunderstood and confused because I thought that you were supposed to be so happy when you're pregnant. And no one talks about prenatal depression and what that looks like. And it's just like expected for you to go through the hardest part of your pregnancy in my opinion. I'm not done yet, so I'll let you know when I am, which is your first trimester, without anyone knowing, go to work, do everything you're supposed to do, and no one knows. It just was horrible, genuinely. I was in therapy like I have been for the past 10 years, but I was going more often, and I would literally go and cry for an hour straight. It just was, worst time of my life. And I say that knowing that I am absolutely so grateful that I'm pregnant again, like I said, and that I was able to get pregnant as quickly and easily as I was. And with that, holding that, I also am holding space for the fact that I don't like being pregnant. I'm looking right into the camera lens because I know someone's going to have something to say about it. I don't like it. And if you do like it, I think that is amazing, and I'm so jealous, and I am learning to understand what it means to be pregnant and to accept that that is the phase of life I'm in right now, but by no means am I enjoying it, okay? And if you're not enjoying it either, that's totally fine. Like, I think we have this vision of what pregnancy and having a family and children and everything is supposed to be like, and so much of the time it's so far from the truth. And that's something that I've also noticed with, like, you know, and we'll talk about my channel and stuff, but I have seen sort of the family vloggers and the mommy bloggers and women who throughout their pregnancy were filming and looking so cute and wearing makeup and just like thriving. And I remember watching those and being like, what is wrong with me? Like, why can I not put clothes on and go for a walk or do anything? And I felt like a failure of a person, of a woman, of a mother. And I still feel like that sometimes. Like, I think the expectation from society for women in general is so high, but particularly women who are going through fertility, either issues or having children or are pregnant. And I just have so much empathy and respect for women in general. And I already did. Let me make that clear. Before I got pregnant, I was a feminist. I'll always be a feminist. But going through this experience and knowing how much it changes you mentally, physically, everything, and knowing that I've had so many friends who've gone through this and not being able to fully understand, and now being able to fully understand, one of the first things I did was call them and say, I'm so sorry that I wasn't there for you in the capacity that I should have been during those times. And both, you know, their answers were like, you don't know until you know. And it's so true. Like, you don't know how it genuinely feels mentally and physically until it happens to you. And then you catch up, you know, like, and it just has made my heart grow 1,000 times for women and for what we can do, whether you choose to have children or not. Most of the women that I've met out, like, who, because I have a bump now, who've been like, oh, when are you due or whatever, I'll ask, like, oh, do you ever want to have kids? And, you know, this could be like someone I randomly meet or like my Trader Joe's cashier. Most of the women have been like, no, I don't think so. And I'm like, you know what? That's great. And my respect for women who want to make whatever choice they want to make has grown tenfold because of what I'm going through and how this is like a universal experience and at the same time the most lonely thing I've ever done. Oh, it's a boy, by the way. I realized I didn't say that at the beginning. It's a boy, which is a whole other can of worms because I'm like, okay, so this is gonna sound crazy, but like, I don't have a super strong gut intuition. I don't really think I ever did. And somehow by becoming pregnant, my gut is intact. Maybe it's because I was always sick and my gut didn't have a time to grow an intuition because it was diarrhea-ing all the time. Is that a verb? Let's just say this. I knew in my heart of hearts when my child was conceived that I was pregnant. I also knew innately that it was a boy from the very beginning. I felt very strongly that I was going to have a successful pregnancy that was full term. And I am a very anxious person. I have OCD. I'm literally wearing an OCD awareness shirt right now. And my fears that I would typically have, that I thought I would have for a child, are not there. And I think that it's something that has to do with intuition, motherliness, and my gut. And I'm very grateful for that because, and also I think, you know, my therapist would say, you've been working on this for 10 years, like, give yourself a little credit. And I'm sure that that is part of it. And Lexapro. I'm still on my Lexapro. Thank God. But I knew it was a boy, guys. I knew it was a boy from the very beginning. And I had a tiny bit of gender disappointment, which people, if you say you don't, you're a liar. You're a liar. Of course I was going to be happy no matter what, but I wanted a girl because I grew up with a single mother, no siblings. I just love women, and I think girlhood is the most beautiful thing on planet Earth. So I want that, and I want to experience that, and I want to have that with a girl. But ever since Reed and I were married and knew we wanted to have kids, whenever we would talk about our kids, we would always talk about a boy. And not because he's misogynist or I'm misogynist, but I think we both envisioned that we were having a boy first. And honestly, that's exactly what happened. And now that I've had some time with it and I've been able to sit with it, like, I'm really so excited to be having a boy. I would be happy if it was a girl too, but because I'm able to like visualize it all now, it's just become so much more real and so much more beautiful. Not only that, but he's healthy. He's low risk. He's growing right on time. He's measuring exactly the week he's at. I just started feeling like flutters and kicks, which is so freaking cute, but also I'm like, God, it's only 16 weeks. Which, let's talk about that. I'm 16 weeks and I am showing. People have had some things to say about that. I posted on here and on my short form channels that I was pregnant, and I had like a little picture thing that I did with Reed. Hold please, I need my water, of which I drink probably 120 ounces a day, which is like kind of drowning myself at this point. What was I talking about? Y'all, I can barely string 2 sentences together. Literally, what was I talking about? He's healthy. He's got his toes and hands about him. Oh, I'm showing. So because I have IBS, I've also had other things like SIBO, which is small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. Say it with me now. And just other things. I have chronic bloating, so it kind of don't be mattering what I eat. I'm gonna bloat afterwards. I have been medicated for it, but it's just my lot in life. And when you are in your first trimester of pregnancy, you bloat like a fucking balloon, and you look more pregnant when you're 8 weeks pregnant than you do when you're 20 weeks pregnant, because bloating. And so a part of me was like, once I had sort of told some people in my life and stuff, I was like, I don't want to suck it in anymore. I don't want to have to worry about that. I just want to be. And because I am a natural bloatation device and I was pregnant, I was already pretty round by like 11 weeks. I would say I quote unquote popped, but I'm not fully popped, like 2 weeks ago, which is crazy, and not usual. Typically women pop in their 20 weeks, 25 weeks. And I know that a lot of it is not baby. It's mostly organs and bloating, but it's not worth it for me to suck it in to show you the accurate bump size. For who? No. People love to make pregnant women feel bad. Everybody wants to make you feel bad. Whether it's them saying, oh, you're not even that pregnant. 16 weeks, you're barely pregnant. And I'm like, really? Because I fucking had the worst 6 weeks of my life. And it felt like every day I wanted to pull my eyeballs out. But yeah, I'm barely pregnant. Whether it's telling you that you're carrying big, that's correct. Someone said that to me. Also, someone on my Instagram said it looked like I was giving birth tomorrow. My baby is due in October. Or if it's not that, it's, I would talk about, I'm just so tired. I'm so beyond tired. Just wait, darling, until your baby comes out. You'll never sleep again, so enjoy it. Why do we talk to pregnant women this way? Why do we talk to women in general this way? We don't talk to people, like if a man says that he's tired, we don't say to him, just wait till you have a baby. Like, why do we do this? It's patronizing and it's stupid. Call me crazy. I knew going into this that my life was going to be different afterwards. I knew that I was going to get less sleep and that I was going to have a child to have to take care of on the other side. So I kind of don't really be needing you to tell me to just wait, because that's exactly what I'm doing. Jessica. Sorry if your name's Jessica. That was just a placeholder. That's just some of my complaints. I have many more. Also, I kind of tried a lot for my nausea in my first trimester, and the only thing that worked for me was Zofran, and it was, that's a whole other thing of women and people judging you for making decisions for your body and for yourself, including taking medications like Lexapro, like Zofran, and it's just hard. It is the hardest thing I've ever done and probably ever will do, and I know that it will be worth it in the end, 1000%. But that's where I've been. That's where I've been. I've been happy. I've been sad. I've been crying. I've been depressed. I've been throwing up. I've been pissing. Oh, I forgot to tell you this fun part. So, turns out when you're pregnant, but this can happen to anyone, if you push too hard while you're bearing down while you're taking a poop, you can pass out. So, picture this. I'm on the toilet. I've got my feet up on my squatty potty. And, I'm constipated, which is a whole other thing, by the way. First trimester, I was so constipated. I've never been constipated in my life. I'm an IBS-D girl, as I mentioned, Team D. And so I didn't know what to do. And apparently I pushed too hard. Next thing I know, I'm on the damn floor with poop on my butt, looking around. The hell? I call Reed. I'm like, come home. Something's wrong. I'm passing out on the toilet. So Reed comes home from work. I call my doula. I call my doctor, and they're like, oh, you pushed on a nerve called the vasovagal nerve. Sorry if I'm saying that wrong. And when you released, your blood pressure was down and then went up, and you passed out. And so everything's fine. The baby was fine. But I was terrified. I thought, I'm having a miscarriage. I passed out. Something's going on. And it has indeed happened again. So just, some of the beautiful things about pregnancy that they don't really tell you is that you can go ahead and be passing out with poop all over your butt. So where are we now? What's going on now? I am in my second trimester. It has been so much better. And that's something else I want to say is if you're watching this and you're in your first trimester and you're like, this is hell and my life is over. This is obviously not a blanket statement because everybody is different, but it lifted for me on the day of my 12 weeks. Like 12 weeks, I woke up, she's digging in the dirt and eating it. Penny. Good grief. I woke up and it was like this fog had lifted around me and I could see and I felt like myself and not 100%, but way more than I was. And I have felt pretty good since then. There have definitely been days where I've been sick and crying and feeling PTSD from that first 6 weeks. But for the most part, in your second trimester, you should feel somewhat better. A lot of women act like it's night and day. It's not. You're still tired. You're still not your full self. You're still not at full capacity, but you're not on the couch or in bed all day. And I like to think that the worst is over and that I can be available and back on my socials and be fully present and be making videos again. But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that you have to give yourself as a pregnant person grace to allow for whatever happens to happen. And during my first trimester, I had such a hard time being able to reckon with that because I have a lot of people that rely on me in my life. Having a job where I'm online is also something where I'm like, oh, these people are relying on me for their content. I have an employee who relies on me, a husband, I have 2 dogs, I have my friends, my improv troupe, people who I love and want to take care of and be there for, and I wasn't able to show up for them in the way that I would have liked. And my therapist was basically like, why do you hold yourself to these insane standards that no one else is making you do? And no one else is thinking of that but you. And I was like, well, goddamn, she's right. So I've tried to follow that guideline of just knowing that the people who understand and love me and are my friends will be there for me when I come up for air, and accepting that I don't have the same capacity that I did. And I'm probably not going to for a couple of years. And that's something that you don't really fully comprehend at least I didn't, when I was starting to get pregnant, was I was like, I didn't think that the changes in my capacity would happen as quickly as they did and would last as long as they did. I didn't think, oh, once you get pregnant, your capacity is going to change. I was just thinking once you have a kid, things change. Babe, once you get pregnant, your life is different. And it took me a while to accept that. And honestly, I don't think I'm fully 100% accepting of it yet. I have days where I'm like, I look at the clock and I'm like, oh my God, how much longer do I have to do this? I feel like I'm in purgatory. How much longer? And then I have days where I've never forgotten that I'm pregnant. Let me make that clear. But I've had days where it's not been the number one thing I'm thinking of 24 hours a day. And when I have those days, I try and enjoy them. Like today, it was a nice day. I ordered Jersey Mike's. It was beautiful. Playing with the dogs, talking to you guys. And on those days, I'm going to do what I can. And I'm going to post and I'm going to film. But I cannot hold myself to a standard that I'm not able to meet. And I hope that you guys understand that, and I'm sure that you will. And I still have a lot of content that I want to make. I still want to show up here. I still want to be the person that you go to for your makeup. And I want to say that just because I'm pregnant does not mean this page is going to be about being pregnant or children. This is a video that I felt I wanted to make because I have been gone and I wanted to tell you where I've been, and I wanted to connect with other women who are going through this. But you will not be seeing mommy vlogs from me. I feel very confident, as does Reed, that we want to keep our kid offline. I have no intention of making money from my child. And obviously being pregnant affects my skin, my hair, everything. And it has, let me tell you. So that's going to play a factor in my content. But for the most part, like, I'm not reviewing things and saying like, pregnant woman tries new Laneige lip balm. Like, I'm just going to try the lip balm. I'm still going to post the reviews and the things that I was before. Obviously there's a different lens on some of it, like empties and, you know, skincare and things like that, but expect the same from me, especially if you're a childless person and you don't, by choice, or you don't want to see that type of content. I know that's not why a lot of you followed me in the first place. That's not why any of you followed me. I just got pregnant. So that won't be changing. I have no idea what the next 5 years of my life is going to look like, genuinely. That terrifies me. Oh God. I think this is my cue because my neighbor is playing music and I will get copyrighted. So let me just say this. I don't know what the next 5 years of my life is going to look like, but I would love to stay around and stick around if you'll have me. I hope this was helpful in some way and that either you connected with me because of this or you know where I've been. And it'll be back to our regularly scheduled programming very soon. Also, I really liked doing this. Should I start a podcast? No, everyone has one. Okay, I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one really soon. I have a ton of empties that I want to go over, but I think I need to use this mic sometime again soon. So, okay, I love you guys. I will talk to you in the next one really soon.